President Trump promised retaliation against Colorado for keeping Tina Peters in prison on her election system tampering conviction. And he is following through again. Thanks for being with us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Kyle Clark. President Trump threatened, quote unquote, harsh measures for Colorado. And today we learned the president has vetoed a bill to fund a major drinking water project here. It is the first veto of his second term. This pipeline project passed through Congress unanimously. The Arkansas Valley Conduit was first promised by President John F. Kennedy. It's supposed to bring clean drinking water to dozens of communities on the eastern plains between Pueblo and Lamar, areas where the well water is often salty and deep wells can draw up radiation. Construction finally started on this long-awaited project a few years ago, but costs doubled due to inflation and labor expenses. President Trump says he is vetoing that funding to save taxpayers money.
And 9 News reporter Spencer Schweitzer is joining us. Spencer, bipartisan, unanimous vote in Congress, bipartisan support in Colorado, and the project's in the reddest Republican district in Colorado, represented by Congresswoman Lauren Boebert.
Yeah, Rep. Boebert argued this is a non-controversial bill and that she has a hard time believing this is not political retribution against Colorado and her for when she stood up to the Trump administration to force the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Access to clean water should be fundamental for us.
Every member of Congress signed off on funding the Arkansas Valley Conduit, a 130-mile pipeline providing clean drinking water from Pueblo to Lamar.
It appears that nothing is safe.
President Trump vetoed the bill, sponsored in the House by one of his most loyal supporters, Republican Rep. Lauren Boebert.
I think it's very unfortunate that President Trump chose a bill that provides clean water to 50,000 Southeast Coloradans to veto.
But the president threatened punishment for Colorado if it wouldn't release convicted election clerk Tina Peters. And Boebert just recently stood up to the Trump administration to force the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
The president never promised that there would be retribution for me taking a stand and holding corrupt individuals accountable on the Epstein list.
The president's veto message says he vetoed the water project because of cost. Boebert questions if it's really political retribution.
It kind of makes you want to step back and say, well, what's really going on here?
She doesn't take issue with punishing Colorado over immigration policy, climate research, or Tina Peters, but draws the line at the water project in her district.
We're talking about Southeast Colorado, who's overwhelmingly voted for President Trump in the last 3 elections. And these are not the people that should be attacked.
I wasn't terribly surprised based on what's going on with the Tina Peters issue and other issues in Colorado and other Democrat states.
Bill Long is the president of the Southeastern Water Conservancy District.
It's especially important because of our big water quality problems in the valley.
But in the back of Bill's mind was Trump's previous punishment for Colorado, removing Space Command, NCAR, denying disaster funding.
I've thought that for some time, yes.
And now, the water project.
We're trying to meet federal water quality standards. So your question to me is, what happens if we can't meet those? I honestly don't know.
The project's supposed to go 130 miles. Long says so far they've done about 12 miles of it, and the water treatment plant is under construction. I asked what happens if this is on hold for X amount of years until a different president is in office. He says if they can't get this funded, that's probably what they'll have to do. He doesn't see any other solution to this.
So again, Spencer, unanimously passed through Congress. So the votes would be there for an override of the president's veto if such a vote is allowed.
Right, would need 2/3 majority to have an override vote. The question is, though, are any of those Republican members willing to anchor the president to get this through? Are they willing to deal with the consequences that may come from that?
It is pretty striking, though, to hear an elected representative say, punish the parts of Colorado that voted against the president, but don't punish the parts of Colorado that voted for him. I mean, I know people think that's striking to hear it out loud.
Yeah. She was very clear.
Very clear about
it. She didn't hold back.
Spencer Schweitzer, thank you.
2025 is ending on a warm and a dry note. That trend is going to just continue right into 2026. 9 News meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen is here with a quick look at the forecast. Nice to forecast from one year to the next.
You know, fortunately, I have found that winter golf can be very therapeutic. Just kind of pretend like it's September and we didn't completely lose 3 months of the snow season. But we're going to carry some warm temperatures into the new year. Warm day tomorrow coming. Where's winter? We're still looking for it out there. We don't really see anything in the next 10, 14 days. We do have one small mountain snow system coming through on Thursday and Friday. But it's a weak one. Here's our forecast for tomorrow in Denver. Lots of sunshine, some high clouds, but up to 60 degrees. Golf weather, some bike weather. Just take what Mother Nature gives you, and she's given us some really warm temperatures here. We've had a record number of 60-degree days in December, and we may have one more on the last day, some 30s, and even some upper 40s in some of the mountain towns tomorrow. This is the next 7 days here in Denver. Golf weather tomorrow. We do have some cloud cover as that storm system comes through in Denver, maybe a couple of sprinkles in the area. Douglas County most likely is the only spot, but not anything significant. And then we're right back into golf weather, warm, sunny conditions Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. More details coming up on that snow in the forecast, which is coming up in a few minutes.
He was known as a maverick on Capitol Hill, representing Colorado in both chambers of Congress.
Ben Nighthorse Campbell died today at the age of 92. 9 News anchor Philip offers along with a look at his life and long career of public service.
Kyle Campbell was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1987, then the U.S. Senate in 1992. 3 years later, the Democrats stunned his party by switching to the Republican Party. Born in Auburn, California in 1933, he served in the Air Force in Korea in the 50s. A member of the Northern Cheyenne tribe, known in Congress as much for his cowboy boots and ponytail as he was for his firm defense of children's rights, organized labor, fiscal conservatism, advocacy for Native American issues. He retired after his time in the Senate, but stayed really busy making Native American jewelry, becoming a senior policy advisor with a Washington law firm. The 92-year-old died of natural causes surrounded by his family. Governor Polis has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff, lowered from sunrise to sunset on the day of his memorial service, which has yet to be announced. Phil Lipoff, 9 News.
Phil, thank you. Tax credits that have helped Coloradans afford health insurance are set to expire tomorrow. Without those subsidies, ACA marketplace premiums are expected to, on average, double. According to healthcare advocates, roughly 200,000 Coloradans will be impacted by this, and roughly 75,000 are expected to lose their coverage altogether as they are priced out of the market. We talked to a Coloradan who says she will be paying twice as much than what she paid last year.
It's painful. Really the only way to pay for it is to take money out of the food budget for our household because we don't have any discretionary income at this point.
Democrats shut down the government earlier this fall in an attempt to get support to extend those tax credits. Republicans blocked that. Advocates hope that Congress reconsiders when they return to work early next month. Open enrollment for the ACA marketplace ends January 15th, so there's a very small window for potential action.
People with disabilities who rely on RTD's door-to-door service will pay more for rides beginning Thursday. The transit agency's board of directors voted 10-5 in September to adjust its Access on Demand program. That subsidizes ride shares and taxis for eligible riders. Currently, the program has no base fare, and RTD covers up to $25 per trip. Under the new plan, riders will face a base fare of $4.50. There's an income-based discount that's half that. The agency will also reduce its subsidy to $20. RTD argues the changes are necessary to keep the program financially sustainable. There is one thing that won't change: the number of subsidized trips per month. That will remain at 60.
Colorado's taking an alternative approach to trying to prevent somebody caught from drinking and driving from doing it again. Many people who get a DUI will go on to get more than one. Sometimes all those court dates, fines, even jail time do not lead to a change in behavior. So enter the idea of victim impact panels. They attempt to connect with people on an emotional level. Colorado named Brent Shaw sits on one of those panels. A drunk driver killed his wife and seriously injured his daughter in a crash on I-70 near Evergreen 7 years ago. It was that driver's 5th DUI. He's now trying to stop it from happening again.
If you can connect with people on a personal level, it becomes real to them. It becomes something that they will remember.
These victim impact panels are usually court ordered as part of the process somebody has to complete when they get a DUI.
A new wrongful death lawsuit accuses memory care staff at a facility in North Glen of neglecting one of their residents who later died. The lawsuit names the North Glen Heights Assisted Living and Memory Care community. It says staff members repeatedly left a woman on the ground for hours after she fell. The complaint cites 5 separate falls last year, including one case in which Kathleen Griffin was left on the ground for 7 hours overnight. The family attorney says staff should have checked on her every 2 hours. According to the complaint, Griffin died in July due to complications from being on the ground so long. It also says her daughter installed a camera inside her mother's room to document what happened.
She deserved dignity and compassion, human care. Instead, what we see is just absolutely repulsive. It's hard to watch. It really is hard to watch.
The facility wouldn't comment on the lawsuit. The family attorney has also requested the Adams County District Attorney investigate. A spokesperson for the DA says it's reviewing that request. Colorado's most destructive wildfire started 4 years ago today.
Tonight, we check back in with a woman who lost her home in the Marshall Fire in Louisville. 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj is along with that. Shalima?
Good evening. Jessica Carson's life was changed by the Marshall Fire. In the end, she lost everything and had to rebuild from scratch.
Our tradition was always to put up the Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving, and even though they were still rushing to get us moved in, they said it would be okay to put it up.
For Jessica Carson, it's hard to believe that 4 years have gone by since the Marshall Fire. It destroyed more than 1,000 homes in Boulder County and killed 2 people.
We were inside and heard horns honking and looked outside, and all the neighbors were kind of just frantically getting in cars and grabbing animals and kids and just leaving.
Jessica and the father of her children lived minutes apart. In the end, both lost their homes.
After the fire, those 1,000+ families, we were the fire families. We kind of got that label, and it bonded us in a very unique way.
Her home in Louisville was the first to be rebuilt after the fire. She was able to move in before Christmas the following year.
It was great to be home, but it was sad because no one else was there.
Changes to forecasting protocols have been made since the fire.
Whenever those come up or the warnings come up, I have the physical reaction, and then I just start mentally, I'd start making notes of, okay, what would I grab and where would I go?
Friends and co-workers raised money to help Jessica and her family get back on their feet while they stayed in a rental in Longmont. She now lives in Broomfield, but goes back to Louisville often.
I would tell someone that had gone through something similar to give themselves grace, and you can't rush it, you can't hurry it along, you just need to take one step at a time. And sometimes you're stepping sideways or backwards, but just keep your feet moving.
Well, investigators say there was more than one cause for the fire, a burn on a residential property that reignited, and sparks from XL power lines. Now, XL has denied any wrongdoing, but agreed to a $640 million settlement for lawsuits related to the fire. Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.